Hello everyone, once again. Today we are going to talk about chapter 8 of class 7, which is wind, storms and cyclones. Now this chapter is absolutely related to our daily life. So we keep on reading about the cyclones across the world, especially in India. We have a lot of cyclones in the eastern region of our country. We have storms, we have heavy winds, and during the monsoon you will find quite often about these winds and storms. So this chapter is divided into three parts. First, we will talk about the properties of air. In the second part, we'll talk about the thunderstorms and the cyclones. And in the third part, we are going to talk about the effects of thunderstorms and cyclones. So let us start with the first part. So when we have to talk about properties of air. So air is a mixture of gases. We have a mixture of gases around us, which is air, but you won't be able to see air. It's very difficult to feel air until it is a little windy. So when the air starts moving, so even if you switch on the fan or your AC or you're in the garden, when the air is moving, then you start feeling it. So moving air is nothing but wind, and at times you feel that it's a gentle breeze. So when moving air is at a very optimum speed, then you feel very good about it. Maybe you are sweating and then all of a sudden there is a gush of air and you feel good. So this movement of air can be good, it can be a gentle breeze, or it can be very heavy wind. So when it is very windy, you're not able to hold on anything and everything is flying here and there, and then you won't like it. So the second image that we see is a little windy, where you might enjoy, but still it is going to be a little destructive. And in the third image, you see this moving air, this wind has now turned into a cyclone, a storm, which is going to destroy a lot of things around it. So when this gentle air, this non-moving air starts moving in, and from a gentle breeze it starts turning into a cyclone, a storm, then there is a lot of destruction. Now this destruction we have seen in the past. In the past, when we talk about Orissa, so normally there are a lot of cyclones across the world, and the meteorologist department, they know that there will be a cyclone. So we always, like in earlier times, we were not knowing about it, but now due to technology, we know that a cyclone is approaching because of the satellite image, because of the cloud formation. So we know a cyclone is coming in. It's the air is turning now into a cyclone. Because of that, now we are able to predict it, and when we predict it, we are able to move people. So the people, the cattle, everything can be moved from the place where cyclone is going to be there. But cyclone will be there, so the destruction to infrastructure will be there for sure. So this talks about the cyclone which was there in Orissa in 1999. Within few months again, there was one more cyclone in the same place, that is Orissa. Now if you see, the first image is a satellite image, and if you see, there are different colors to it. So this is blue water, which is calm, green is little calm, red means very heavy winds are there, and the white means a lot of cloud formation is there, and that's the eye of the storm. That is where the maximum impact of storm will be near to it. It will be near to the eye. So these are the satellite images, and third image you can see the destruction which it caused. So it caused there was a loss of crores of rupees, plus lakhs of lives were lost. Even when the evacuation was done, still this was the case. And this happens across the world, and normally the cyclones are named. So they are named, it may be by the person who has seen it first, or the person gives it a name. So the way we have names for physics laws and chemistry laws, the same way we have names for the cyclone. And this year, in fact, the heat wave around Europe has also been named. So these natural calamities which are there across the world are named for us to remember them. Now, when we have to study this in detail, when we have to study the cyclones and storms in detail, we need to study air first. Now, this is one of the properties of air, and that is it exerts pressure. Exerts means it applies pressure. Now, how do you know it applies pressure? So when you're riding a bicycle and there's opposite wind coming towards you, then you will feel that there is pressure. So your body is going to apply more pressure, more pedaling will be needed. While if the wind is from the back, then there's less pedaling, less energy from your body which is required to ride further. The same way when you are boating, so when you row a boat, if the wind is in forward direction, it is good, but if it is in backward direction, it is going to be difficult for you. So like this, these are very small, simple examples of your daily life which shows that air exerts pressure. Even when you're sitting at home or you're in a balcony or you're going to your school, try to observe where is air exerting pressure. So when you unfurl the tricolor, or when you switch on the fan, or when you stand in the balcony with your hair open, what happens? So all these things will make you understand that it exerts pressure. Now, what is air pressure? So air pressure is the force with which air pushes against the Earth's surface. We know Earth is a sphere and the atmosphere is covering the Earth. So when this atmosphere is covering the Earth, the atmosphere is composed of air, and because this air has mass into it, because it's a mixture of a lot of gases, so their masses are going to combine together, we can't feel. So if I catch air like this, I can't feel the mass. But because Earth is huge and we are very minute in front of the huge Earth, air's mass we will not be able to feel, but it has mass. To understand it better, suppose you you are there on a beach, and you start walking on the beach. So you will see your footprint are going to be there because you have a mass. So because of your body's mass, there is a pressure on the sand and you can see the footprint. The same way the air also exerts pressure on the Earth's surface. This can be better explained by two experiments. First, we'll see the second experiment, which is very easy. You must have done it also, and we can do it right now also. You take a glass full of water, take a cardboard, and just slide it up like this. So when it is sliding up, there is some air. So there is some air in the glass, plus there is obviously air in the atmosphere. So the air from the atmosphere is going to exert the pressure on the cardboard. And when you reverse it like this, the cardboard is not going to fall down. So it is not going to move. In this first image, if you see, it's a simple experiment which can be done by a tin can. If you don't have a tin can, it can be done by a thin plastic bottle. So you take a plastic bottle and you put hot water into it. Okay, quickly put hot water into it. Do not put the bottle on the burner because it's plastic, it is going to burn down. And please don't do it without your parental supervision. So parents have to be there. Now, when you put hot water inside the bottle, quickly close the cap. Then open the cap, pour the water out and close the cap. So what will happen is there will be some steam which will be trapped inside the bottle. Then you take the bottle and quickly pour cold water, icy cold water on the bottle. So what is going to happen is the bottle is going to crush. It's going to squeeze in because the steam which is inside the bottle has now turned into water. So water vapor has now converted into water by the method of cooling. And because of this conversion inside, the outside air has applied pressure onto it because now there is space in the bottle. So when there is space in the bottle because of this conversion, obviously air is going to apply pressure on it, and air has applied pressure on it and the bottle gets squeezed down. Now we have studied about air exerts pressure. Now let us see it practically. So what you'll have to do is take a thin strip of paper, just like this. Okay, take a strip of paper and hold it like this. Hold it like this. Do not touch it to your mouth. Now you have to blow the air above it. So what will happen if you blow the air above it? So our normal reaction is if I blow air above it, nothing is going to happen. It is going to bend down like this only because of the weight. You can see it's bending down. So it is going to bend down only because if I blow air up, it is going to go somewhere up. Let us see. Now what I'll do is I am going to blow air very slowly. So you saw little movement upwards. Now I'm going to increase the speed with which I'm blowing air, and I'm not touching, I'm just blowing above the paper. Did you see? If I'm blowing it above, it is rising up. It is totally up. This is what happens during the cyclone. So when you're blowing the paper up, the wind speed increases, and because of this increase in wind speed, the air pressure above decreases and the air from here pushes the paper up. So when I'm blowing it over here, the pressure over here decreases and the pressure over here is increased. It's giving it more pressure. That is why paper strip goes up. So this was high speed is always accompanied by reduced air pressure, and this is what we have seen through the experiment. Now, the same thing can be done using a bottle. Now, you always have to understand that air moves from a region of high pressure to low pressure. Always. So, when we study about land breezes and sea breezes, the same concept is over here. So hot air rises up, cool air gushes into takes its place, and that is how the movement of air happens. So air always moves from high pressure to low pressure, and greater is the difference between these two pressure, faster the air will move. If the pressure, if the gap is very very less, the difference is very very less, then the air will not be that fast. But if the gap between them is very high, then the air is also going to move very very fast. It is because of the heat of the sun which is warming up the air. So when the heat of the sun warms up the warm air goes up, the cool air takes its place, and that is how low pressure is being generated. Okay, fast moving air blowing over an object helps in lifting the object, and that is what we have seen. So if you take a bottle, and in that bottle you put a crumpled piece of paper or a popcorn, you put it inside the bottle, empty bottle, okay, and you blow air. Now again, keep a distance and then blow air. You will see that it is the popcorn or the crumpled ball is jumping, and it is going to rise up. So if you keep it near the cap of the bottle, near the head of the bottle, it is going to rise up the way the paper strip was rising up. The reason is that near the mouth of the bottle, the pressure is going to be very very less, because there the speed of the wind is very high. When you're blowing air, the speed will be maximum at the head of the bottle than at the bottom of the bottle. So where the speed of the air is more, there the pressure is going to be very less, and that is how the crumpled ball or the popcorn is going to rise up. Do try this at home, and you're going to really enjoy the experiment. And that is how you will learn about air pressure. This is one more thing, that air expands on heating. Very easy to understand that if you take a paper bag, and again, please keep a distance and under parental supervision. Keep a paper bag and put a candle inside it. So paper bag will obviously have some air into it, and when you put a candle, the air inside the paper bag is going to warm up, and when it warms up, you don't have to burn the paper. Okay, so keep a distance. When it warms up, the paper is going to be a little fluffy, so it's going to expand, and that is how we prove that air expands on heating. So after this, we understand the various properties of air. The first is it exerts pressure. So that we have seen, it takes up space. So even if you see on the table, suppose you are putting a plastic sheet on it, then you will see there are some taps. So even if you put a sellotape, you have to be very very careful that there are no air bubbles inside it, otherwise the air will take space over there. It has mass. So even if you take you take two balloons, one balloon you blow and the other balloon you keep deflated only. So when you put it on a hanger, you will see that the blown balloon is going to be heavier, and the blown balloon is going to be a little heavier, so it is going to go down, and the deflated balloon is going to go up. Heat, when heated, so when air is heated, it expands and rises up. You have seen that in even hot air balloon. Hot air balloon, it goes up because the hot air is, and the moment you have to come down, you actually have to lower the temperature over there. So the heat, the fire which is there needs to be lowered down, and the hot air balloon is going to come down. So this shows that when cooled, it shrinks and falls. Air speed when being forced through a narrow opening, the paper strip experiment that we have done. So it speeds up. It speeds up when we have a narrow opening. When we have a wide opening, obviously the air speed is going to be very very less. And when it is compressed, so you have this, your soft drink bottles, your Coke and Pepsi and Fanta, their carbon dioxide gas is compressed into it. So the moment you open the lid, you see the gas bubbles coming out. It's fizzing out. It is because air is inside it, and it is in a compressed form. So because it's compressed form, it exerts a lot of pressure on it. So these were the various properties of air. Now based on the learning of these properties, we are now going ahead with learning of thunderstorms and cyclone in the next video. So take care. Do all the experiments at home under parental guidance to understand the properties of air better. Till then, enjoy science at home, and we are going to meet in the next video regarding thunderstorm and cyclones. Thank you.